Hi, everyone. Okay, it looks like we are working. If you are here and can hear me, if you wouldn't mind giving a heart, great. Okay, we'll start in about 3 minutes. Okay. All right, welcome. It looks like it's working. If you can hear my sound, feel free to drop a heart, say hello in the chat so I can know where you're calling in from, and we'll get started in just a minute. Okay. Okay, hi everyone and welcome. Hello to the many of you I believe will be watching this on a replay. I'll give us a couple of moments, a couple of minutes for people to trickle in. And in the meantime, if you're here, I'd really like to invite you to already begin this process of going inside, going into a more quiet place. If you have blankets, a pillow that you can use once we're laying down, or you can really do the whole session laying down, you're more than welcome. It's also very nice to have something to cover your eyes, which can help with that process of withdrawal. Good. If you are able to hear me okay, I'd love to know if you could send a little heart in the chat. Okay. Good. So this evening or this morning, wherever you are, I would like to welcome you. This is officially the 6th month we've started these live circles and created this community around sound. And it can be a very special practice to not only treat sound baths and to treat sound meditations as something we do every once in a while, but really something that we can incorporate as a daily practice. And as with anything, anytime we're working with sound or with a sonic meditation, I invite you to surrender. That's one of the very interesting things about the faculty of sound is that, and I mentioned this last live, is that when we don't like what we're seeing, when we don't want to engage visually in something, we can close our eyes and it's no problem. We remove the image. But with ears, it's different. When we are awake, when we are conscious, our ears are open and they are listening. And so with that, we require quite a bit of surrender. and filtering with our hearing process. So with that, no matter where you are, if you happen to be in a crowded place, if you're driving, listening to this, I invite you to welcome any sound that comes into your field, even if it's not expected, even if it's not something we necessarily plan to have in our sound bath. We invite it into the experience and just practice with being with what is. That is a really foundational concept of mindfulness, of meditation that we can bring into our sound. So whether that's my daughter that just woke up and crying baby that my partner is settling, or traffic outside of your window, or your neighbors doing this, try and invite it into this practice of identifying with the mind, identifying the sound, and using it as a reminder to come back inside to our internal experience. So for our meditation and the concept of these classes is to really go into the vast world of yoga, of sound, and to the many tools that are available to us. And if you read my newsletter this week, I've been really diving back into, first and foremost, I'm a yoga teacher of Vinyasa and Hatha and Yin style yoga. And I was diving back into some of my books and teachings around this particular lineage and came across a few foundational teachings that I found very inspiring that I'd like to give us to maybe tack on during our meditation. And that was a concept called virya. And there are many translations with Sanskrit words depending on who's speaking, the context, what words are around it. But I'd like to think of this not just as vigor or potency or passion, but a sense of really deep desire, I dare to say urgency in this way, to assist our own awakening, to come to our own awakening. And when we talk about the Vedic roots or the Vedic wisdom of yoga, we're really talking about the Yoga Sutras, the 8 limbs of yoga, and how these can help encourage and ground our practice, not only in our life or when we're on our mat or sitting down meditating, but in our life. And with the 8 limbs of yoga, many of us are aware of the asana or the physical practice, but that's just one part of a very vast practice. And I think what's very powerful to think of with sound is we can visualize this practice of sound as really this helping hand that's holding us through the exploration of these other 8 limbs. And what do I mean by that? Is that these 8 limbs aren't necessarily a ladder. They're not a ladder at all. They're really a wheel that we're constantly moving and flowing between like water. And we have, once we get to our deeper meditation practices with our pranayama, our breath, working with our vital life force, we come into what's called pratyahara or pratyahara. And this is the withdrawal of our senses towards our inward experience. And so that's something I'd like for us to think about and contemplate as we're going into the sound bath this evening, is to think about that physical but also mental process of our senses turning inside. And when we do that, we come into an absorption and a concentration on our interior, on our mind. And that's when the process of meditation begins. And so I'd also like to bring in one of the most foundational sutras or threads of this foundational piece of written yogic wisdom is Atta Yoga Anusasanam. And that's the very first line of the Yoga Sutras. And the translation is, now is the practice of yoga. Now is the practice of yoga. And it's beautifully vague in a way. Like, what does that mean? We want to know, like, now, when, what do I have to do to get to that now? But that's the beauty and that's the wisdom, is that there's nothing else we need to know, is that now is the practice of yoking ourselves to our mind, to infinite consciousness, higher self, nature, cosmos, whatever you would like to call it. Now is the practice of yoga. Now is the practice of yoking. So I think I'll leave it at that. I wanted to start with a very brief meditation, just using our breath to settle into the space, and then we'll move into the sound. And one very powerful practice that I find is using a mudra. So this helps direct the flow of our mind. It gives our hands something to do and helps us to calm down and directs our energy through a specific focus. So this mudra is called Uttara Bodhi mudra. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the thumb and the finger, and press them together to create this little window. And then we're going to interlace all the other fingers. So it's a little bit hard to see when I have it facing me, but thumb and pointer finger are pressing together with some tension, and then bringing it to the heart space. So Uttara means higher or to follow or to go up. And Bodhi is our awakening, our awakened mind, our awakened heart mind. So this is the mudra that's supposed to help lift our energy and take us into our own awakening. So that's enough talking for now. I'm going to let us go into the feeling of this mudra, how it feels to have our hands at our heart space, pointer finger and thumb together, resting through the elbows and closing down the eyes. And we'll just take a few minutes here to calm the mind, ease the fluctuations of the mind, and rest in our own true nature. Another beautiful yoga sutra available to us. So take a deep breath. And exhale. And we won't work with any particular breath, just breathing long, slow, and deep with the intention of relaxing the nervous system. So you find as your breath deepens, the belly will begin to relax. We won't notice the air just going up and down in the body. We'll notice our body expanding in all directions, to the front, to the back, the sides. And with the exhalation, imagining yourself compressing from all directions. Not just air up and out, but the whole body coming in towards center as the lungs deflate. And taking a gentle scan of the body, keeping the hands in the mudra. Just you and your breath. Uttara Bodhi Mudra. Directing your breath to the chest and the heart space. And bringing the mind back to this foundation, Atta Yoga Anusasanam. Now is the practice of yoga. I'll leave you here with your breath and mudra for 1 full minute before we lie down. So if you haven't already, close down the eyes and focus on the breath. allowing the sound to assist the body and mind in the action of pratyahar, or moving, drawing the senses towards our inside. Keeping with your deep breath, just a few moments longer. Just feeling what it feels like to be you, to be alive right now. Final deep breath seated, holding the mudra. Inhale deep. Hold your breath just a moment at the top. And exhale. Releasing the mudra down to the knees. You can allow the palms to face up. You're welcome to remain seated and savor that sensation from this brief exploration of your breath and Uttara Bodhi Mudra. If you're ready to receive sound and immerse into the frequencies of the alchemy crystal bowls and the gong, you can lay down, cover your eyes, maybe cover yourself with a blanket, and allow the mind to become entrained by the very unique sounds of these instruments. Allowing them to find any part of the mind or the body that's experiencing any disharmony. And through the repeated, extended sounds of these bowls and the gong, eventually the tones, the frequencies, the sounds, the waves of our own body, our organs, our tissues, our bodily systems will be invited into harmony as well. If you ever find that the sound is too much or is feeling intense, I invite you to bring more breath into the body. You can also let me know with a heart in the chat. And practice the art of surrender and seeing the places that sound can take us. Final collective breath, final guided breath. Inhale deep. Hold the breath at the top and exhale. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Fill up all the way. Feel the back side of your body pressing into the floor. And exhale. Inhale through the nose. And exhale out through the mouth. Let out a long, deep sigh. While laying down, I invite you to take one hand to the heart and the other hand to the belly. Just feel the life force moving in and out of your body, moving around your body, animating your body. Hatha Yoga Anusasanam now is the practice of yoga. You're welcome to remain laying down for as long as you can. But when you're ready, you can gently begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, moving the hands, maybe pointing and flexing the feet, and activating the muscles of the body. On an inhale, you can bring the knees into the chest, maybe gently rocking back and forth on the lower part of the spine, maybe even the sides of the glutes, all those nice big muscles. And depending where you are in the world, you might like a more dynamic way to coming into seated. But if you're ready to remain in this quiet space, you can just turn to fetal position and push yourself up gently. Otherwise, you can rock and roll on the spine as you're curled up in a little ball, and we'll meet seated, coming back with one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Engaging a very slight neck lock, a Jalandhar Bandh, so a slight retraction of the neck, dipping of the chin as you bow towards the heart space. And we'll close the session with one round of breath. Inhale deep. And exhale. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or evening, wherever you are joining from. And if you're watching this on the replay, I wish you a beautiful day as well. As always, if you have any questions, I'd love to connect here on YouTube, on my community WhatsApp, Instagram. If you have any questions about sound healing or would like to talk about any of the things that are coming up in these sessions, I'm more than happy to speak. But I leave you here. Have a beautiful rest of your day and talk soon.